Welcome to Web Handling. My name is Dave Roysum. I am very excited to continue a new mini-series on ethics and efficacy in web handling. I have been into about 1,000 plants doing problem solving. In most cases, operators have been one of my most important sources of information. In some cases, the key piece of information that unlocked the problem came only from the operator. We also describe how to work most effectively with bosses and other authorities. Operators can be vital for many steps of the problem-solving process. That includes data gathering, hypothesis generation, testing, decision-making, and execution of the remedies. I specifically ask for the best operator prior to many visits and try and include them as full-fledged team members through the entire day. This can pose scheduling issues as someone else may need to run the machine. One of the most refreshing things about operators is that they tend to play less politics. They just want to have a smooth-running day, and that probably isn't such a bad thing. If I have a choice, I look for the long-time grumblers. In my problem-solving classes, I give case histories on how to find these individuals. What operators are especially useful for is telling you what, where, and when something occurred. This should not be surprising, as they spend far more time on the machine than any of us. What they may not be so good for is the how or why something misbehaved. Even then, however, I have found plenty of exceptions where the operator also knew the why better than the process people did. If you want to get the best from an operator, you at least need to treat them like a human being. Say hello. Ask them how their family is, or how their vacation was. If you want to do even better with an operator, treat them like an equal. Welcome their thoughts on issues and projects. Invite them to problem-solving meetings. However, if you want to use an operator most effectively, you must treat them as a superior. They have superior knowledge on how to run a machine. They have superior knowledge on what happened during the night that escaped notice by the scanner and sensor alike. They have superior knowledge on the difficulties seen every day on that line. They have much to teach us. One of the worst things that you can do is walk down to the line and act like a know-it-all. If you knew so damn much already, the line would be running better already. Another thing that operators hate is making messes when they are busy. So, if they are behind, perhaps it is best to postpone the trial. So if things aren't running well, perhaps it is best to postpone the trial. This is common sense and plain old courtesy. Another avoidable trouble is the endless paperwork. You know the type. Recording numbers that nobody looks at anyway. There is much more that I pass on to my students in my problem-solving class, but we need to move on. Let us next talk about how to deal with authority, such as consultants and bosses. Question: what does it take to become a consultant? Simple. A briefcase and a business card. Question: how do you know a consultant is guessing? Simple. Their lips are moving. Yes, the painful truth is that consultants and other authorities are much more challenging to work with than operators. You will likely work with many authorities during your career. Most common will be internal experts that many larger companies have. However, you may call upon a service engineer or other expert from a machine builder to advise on machine maintenance or upgrades. Finally, you might call upon an independent expert, such as myself, when troubles get truly complicated and costly. So, how do you tell a true expert from a self-proclaimed expert? Well, there are 3 initial tests. First, they must have a long work history in that general area, as true expertise cannot be obtained in mere years. It can take decades. However, just working in a general area does not mean you are an expert in a particular part of that area. For example, I have worked in paper mills every year for more than 3 decades. While I might be familiar with web handling in a paper mill, that does not make me an expert on stock preparation or pressing in a paper mill. To quote Richard Dawkins, just because Albert Einstein won a Nobel in physics does not mean he can make pancakes. Finally, the expert should not have anything to gain by the answer he gives. Internal experts and machine builders always fail this last test. Even so, independent consultants can fail this last test if, for example, they suggest further work or study for themselves. I avoid this temptation by limiting almost every troubleshooting assignment to 1 day only. That not only keeps me from profiting from the specific recommendations I give, it also puts a decent urgency on problem solving that can sometimes be helpful. In my problem solving class, I teach that the easiest part of problem solving is the technical part. The far harder part in most cases is the people part. People do not always want to do what is effective or needed for any number of reasons. So, one of the many pitfalls of problem solving is in that module of my course that I title Fix It, but Don't Change Anything. Bosses and customers tend to be the most troublesome here. One easy way to avoid this handicap is to break the problem-solving process into 2 parts. The first is figuring out how things work, without regard to what has to be changed and who is going to pay for it, and so on. The second part is probably best done the next day, and that is, what options are we going to pursue given the unedited list suggested by the mechanics on the previous day? The "we can't do that" never belongs in the troubleshooting part of problem solving. The only thing you can't do is break the laws of physics. Everything else is on the table for now. Thank you so very much for watching this module in my Plant Practical video series. Stay tuned for the next clip where we will describe best practices for what may be both the most important and the most boring troubleshooting topic: meetings. Be sure to like and share. See you next time.